Hi, I'm Sefton Hill, Game Director at Rocksteady Studios. The main qualities that you need to be a good game director, I think first of all, are mainly good communication skills. You need to be able to communicate with all the different departments in order to get across your ideas. You also need to be understanding of different ideas. From my point of view, the whole team can provide great ideas and do provide many of the great ideas in the games. I'm always looking for different sources of those ideas, and I'm never precious about where those good ideas come from, because at the end of the day, we're all working on the game together.
Bring out the defendant!
You certainly know how to keep a girl hanging, Harv.
The creative process when putting together a game like Arkham City, for me as game director, really changes over the duration of the project. So at the start, I'll be working a lot with Poz, who's the lead narrative designer. We'll start by working on the story itself, because that gives us a great framework to hang everything on the game together. And then I'll also work a lot with the lead gameplay programmer and the lead AI programmer in terms of creating the different mechanics for the game. And what we're doing initially in that first stage is putting those components together to give ourselves a solid foundation for the game. Once we've kind of got that initial foundation, I'll work with the lead level designer to put together, to start building the levels. And for us, the way we work, which is kind of not the way everyone works, is that we'll build the whole game as quickly as we possibly can in a very, very basic format. So we'll basically build a whole, over the course of sort of 5, 6, 7 months, very basic version of the whole game that we can play. And that rapid prototyping is really important to us, because the quicker you can get an idea and evaluate it, the quicker you can make a decision about whether it should be in the game or not. Gameplay is kind of like music. You can't just do it on a page and not actually hear it or play it in order to tell how good it is. So sometimes you have to go with the ideas you think are best on a page and then get them in a game and play them. Sometimes the ideas you think were great are actually, when you play them, not that great at all, and sometimes the ideas you weren't sure about are the best ones. So what you're really looking for is that little bit of magic, that little spark. So that's sort of the first stage. Then the second stage is really now putting the quality, the animations, the art, the audio, really trying to raise the quality of stuff that's in there. Once we've decided what's going to be in the game, once we've decided what that content's going to be, then we start bringing in all the different disciplines to actually bring that world to life. And then the third stage, the final stage, is the polish stage. So at that point, we have a game, and we're really trying to polish that and make that, go from sort of a 7 or an 8 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. And that is, in a way, the most important stage. We'll study the game, we'll study everything about the game, we'll do lots of usability testing, watching people play the game, and make changes and refinements based on that to deliver the best game we possibly can. Every single minute, I'm always asking myself, and the team are asking themselves, how can we improve this game? What can we do that's better? And a lot of the time, we'll come in one day and say, I've been thinking about this, we need to change that, we need to do this. The game is constantly evolving and changing, and I think that's what enables us to make a successful game. In terms of the tools I use, I actually mostly use my mouth, to be honest with you. It's mainly about communicating with people. I actually don't have hands-on time with the editor or the game itself. I really spend most of my time communicating with the different departments, so working with the programmers, working with the design team, working with the audio director, the art director, and just trying to get the kind of holistic picture of the game together and make sure all the departments are working in the same direction to create the game. So, I'm a bit of a control freak, so I kind of deliberately keep myself away from getting involved in the editor. Otherwise, I'd just be in there all the time and sort of seal the bunker door and just work on the kind of minutiae of the game. So I really try and, my job is to try and keep a view of the bigger picture. So mainly what I'll do is I'll spend a lot of time in meetings, working with people, coming up with ideas, and then reviewing those ideas and playing the game and giving feedback. But actually, in terms of creating the content in the game, we have a whole studio full of incredibly talented people to do that, people who are much better than me at those individual jobs. So I rely on those guys. I think the most significant design decision that we made on Arkham City was going to a more open world design. It was something that we'd never done before, and it was a really big undertaking for us as a company. It was something that was quite scary to begin with. In fact, it was something that was quite scary all the way to the end, because it was something completely new for us. But I think it was something that we felt was essential, because if we were going to deliver the experience of being Batman in Gotham City, we really wanted the ability for the player to go anywhere and do anything. So I think we all knew at the start it was going to be something that was really tough, but we all really felt it was going to be something that was really worthwhile. So it was definitely our most significant initial decision, and sometimes those initial decisions are the most expensive ones, and if you get them wrong, they can be the most critical ones. You know, it can really make or break the project. But we all really believed in it, and even though we didn't know how we were going to do it, we just knew it was the right thing to do. And, you know, the art team, the design team, the technical team had this amazing confidence which drove them through in order to solve the problems to bring the game around, which, you know, they did a fantastic job in creating that vision and making it a reality. I think when you're creating a game, you need to be aware of the technical limitations of the consoles that you're working on. But to be honest, for Arkham City, it wasn't something that really compromised the design in any way. I was incredibly fortunate to work with an incredibly talented team, and the idea that we originally come up with and put on the table was something that was honestly realized in its entirety in the game. So it's something that you're aware of, and there was definitely something that we were conscious of in terms of creating this really richly detailed streaming world, because I think it was a more richly detailed world than had ever really been created before. But it wasn't something that compromised the design at all. And in fact, sometimes I think limitations can be empowering. You know, like it's easier to some extent to have limitations because you can be as creative as you want within those limitations, and it helps you to come up with the best possible solutions to things. So yeah, I think for me, when we came up with the original idea, there was nothing that we compromised on in the final game. I think if you have hindsight on any project, you can think of things that you would do differently, but I always like to think of it slightly differently, that I'm just really proud of the work that we did on the project. And I think at any stage in the game, we just made the best decisions we possibly could and really believed in. So, for example, with the combat system, when we originally designed that, it was all based around rhythm action. It was a very different combat system. And then we changed the design completely, but we really liked a lot of the kind of core components of the combat system, of the rhythm action design. We really felt that combat has this lovely rhythm and cadence to it that we wanted to keep in the new system. So in some respects, by going in the wrong direction, it enabled us to come up with some really inspirational ideas for when we created the free flow combat system that we did.